Welcome, everyone, to what I hope is a continuing series. I'd love to continue doing this. We'll see how this one goes. I've never done YouTube before, so feeling well. We'll just see how it goes. Feeling a little nervous, but here we go. So, what I'd like to do as we try to, expand what they live by film is really doing, and where our individual passions lie. I'm a big collector personally. I love collecting physical media, and I get a lot of boxes in, and YouTube has a lot of unboxing videos, and people are already doing that well. So no reason I really wanted to kind of jump in, but given how Radiance Films is new and it's an exciting label, and there's a chance to really kind of get started on the ground floor, I thought it would be fun to do a version, let's just say a version of an unboxing video where I actually go a little bit deeper and to kind of go through the discs and go through the releases and talk about some of the special features that I saw and just try to get a little bit more context around this release because look, prices for boutique Blu-rays are going up, and at the same time, titles are number of releases are going up. So yeah, I think if there's a chance to go a little bit deeper and help you make that decision of buy or not, I'd love to be a part of that. So I'll focus on Radiance Films and typical YouTube stuff. If you like it, give me a thumbs up or comment so I know that people are watching this. And I can do more. I've got this is the part of my collection that is what I call kind of like the art house section, and over there I've got all the horror and genre section, and then the Gen Pop, the studio releases. So I can kind of do this from a variety of angles, but given the newness of Radiance Films, I thought it'd be fun to dive in and start there. So I'm going to go about this a couple of ways. I'm going to talk about the release itself, so The Working Class Goes to Heaven. And in addition to talking about the release, I want to focus on some other releases that from the directors. So that's over here. I'll briefly mention the other release from Radiance here, and then there you'll understand why I'm showing the Cassavetes box there. That'll be clear as I talk about the movie. But let's dive in. So release number one, and by the way, Fran has confirmed. Fran from Radiance Films, Fran Simeone has confirmed that there's going to be a spine system, and he's also confirmed that the order of release does not necessarily go by spine number. And for anyone that's heard some of the people we've had on the podcast, there can be a variety of reasons for that. Sometimes it's difficult to marry the spine numbers with release date because of production delays or because of just a variety of reasons. Even after you sort of designate something as spine 3, maybe send it off to the printer so you've got all this material in as spine 3, you've got some delay from some reason or the other. But in this case, for this one, well, spine 12 is ready, so that gets brought in with spine 1 and part of the January release. Sometimes that's just the nature of running a label and doing it yourself and getting off the ground. So be kind to Fran and them as they get off the ground. However, they did start with number 1. So I don't even know if you can see this, but right on the end there is number 1. So Working Class Goes to Heaven. The Italian title, I'm not going to say the Italian title, but the translation is actually The Working Class Goes to Heaven. So no creative titles if you go back to the original language. And The Working Class Goes to Heaven, I think before I get into the movie, because I have seen it, one of the things I want to call out that I love, really, really love so far in what Fran's doing is the artwork. So he's found a clever way around the rating system in England, in the UK. These are region B. It's a region B company, right? Although he's selling in the US. And so they're required to put the label on. So he's found a really creative way. So if you don't want this in the, to be shown, you can just take it out. But it looks elegant when it's in there. So he's really kind of mastered the design aspect of this. But let's just take a second and look at this artwork, because I think, one of the things that jumps out to me at Radiance right out of the gate is how beautiful and simple the artwork is, and how much it matches the tone of the film. So for Working Class Goes to Heaven, he does this, and then he has the reversible artwork as well. So that's the original poster, and maybe more of a traditional kind of what you would think of on a back of a Blu-ray. Love you'll see this on Gambling Boss as well. I really love how he does the wraparound art, really thinks around the whole release of itself. And going into the special features quickly, This is one thing that's nice with Fran's background in aero and just physical media in general. Amazing features, right? So it's on this card. So that's why I'm going to hold this card up here. And these are some, these are a sneak peek of future releases for those that don't know. But if you look at the special features, he has archival interviews with the director himself. So these are previously recorded, features. There's some interviews with John Maria Valente, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Stud. People should definitely be talking about him in the same breath as Marcello Mastroianni. I mean, really like top tier Italian actor. Appreciation by filmmaker Alex Cox, my favorite special feature. I'll get into that in a second. New visual essay by scholar Matthew Kowalski. Feature-length making of documentary, trailer, the reversible sleeve, which I just showed. The artwork is by, he actually mentions the company that designed the artwork, which I love, that he's giving that kind of attention and respect to the art. So it's by Time Tomorrow is the name of I don't know if it's a company or a person. 56-page booklet. So in our interview, Fran talks about this. I believe the standard to fit into a case is around 42, 44 pages. And this is the nice thing about Fran kind of working by himself, is he gets to say, I want a 56-page booklet. The material that came in was good, great context for the film. Let's just make a longer booklet, and he's able to get it in. So that's great. And then an interview with Petri and contemporary articles on the film. They're all included on the disc. So right out of the gate, I think the thing that jumps out, release number 1, this is obviously from a very mature physical media producer, right? Which everybody knew, coming from his background in aero, but the evidence is there in the release as well. The discs, this is going to be true for both releases so far, are color themed with the film and the card. So, I think he pays very close attention to color. If you look at these two, he's really thinking through the entirety of the release. I love that. I think it's a beautiful, simple disc. Again, I think the word that I keep thinking of with Fran so far early on is just this idea of simplicity and beauty in the simple, right? So I'm putting this together here on camera. So it slips back in. And this is what it looks like again with everything in, right? So this is how you kind of get the release, and you can decide whether or not to show. The other thing he includes, this is the booklet. It's again, simple designs, very elegant designs on the booklet. And what just jumps out is it's not big, bold text and a lot of pictures. I mean, this is dense, it's good. The context for this movie is important. And just, I don't know if this is easy to do on YouTube or not, but if you can kind of see, it's dense writing. There's some images, but I mean, this is, these are scholarly articles that are being written on this film. Give a lot of background. Now, is it worth it? It's a very subjective question, right? But here's what I'll say. Elio Petri, for those, I don't actually own it. I was surprised, but he made a film that Criterion released called Investigation of a Citizen Above Suspicion. A lot of people, if they haven't seen it, it's one of those movies that when they see it, they're like, holy hell, how have I not seen this movie before? Like, it's amazing. Very powerful movie, very moving. One of those, it's really like a discussion type of movie, like where you want to discuss it afterwards. And for a lot of folks, they just can't believe that they haven't heard more from Elio Petri based on that movie. Again, John Maria Valente, the actor, in that role, very different role. Essentially, it's just about a cop, or, maybe a sergeant or somebody who's higher up in the police force that commits a crime and tells everybody kind of what happened. I mean, he leaves evidence. He's very sloppy. He's very bold and arrogant, and he knows he's not going to get arrested, and he doesn't. So it's just a kind of a commentary on the injustice of the police system and corruption. Very scathing kind of commentary on it. And so he takes that similar approach here, although it's on a different topic. So Elio Petri was from a lot of what I've read. He was a very pro-labor, kind of socialist-minded person, and so he deals a lot with labor issues. And certainly in this movie, it's maybe bordering on preachy into pro-labor and this idea that a hardworking, successful person in Italy in 71, so late 60s, early 70s, is a part of a system that doesn't support them, right? So it's kind of like this theme in the movie. It's very antagonistic, very aggressively anti I don't know if it's anti-capitalism per se, although that's probably true, but it certainly is anti, that hierarchical structure where the bosses are safe and they're getting to make decisions that are harmful to the employees. And there's it's an interesting way. Again, Pitcher's a very intelligent person, and the writers he brings in are very intelligent people. So it's not just the entire film is not just bashing the factory system, but it shows throughout the movie Valente playing a character named Lulu, uh, who is sort of he's a part of the union, but he doesn't necessarily want what the union wants because he's doing well in the current system. So the whole point is they're making in a factory they're making pieces like metal kind of components to a larger product, probably a car, or it goes into something, and he's the best at it. So he's just producing the most volume of these pieces. He works a lot. He has pains in his body because he's working so much. And there's an important theme in the movie about his sex drive is low. That's a theme that comes up again. He's fully committed to the work, but you see early on that it's just like sucking the life out of him, physically, emotionally. And as the movie goes on, he's stubborn as well. So you see, here's a character that's very proud of the work and maybe even not seeing what's right in front of him. He might even be in the wrong, but he's successful at it, and he's able to kind of save up. And an economy that's struggling, he has money in the savings, and so he's happy. He loses his finger in the machine, so the same machine that's brought him so much wealth and kind of success, his finger gets caught in it. He has to take some time off, and the way that he's treated in the time off and when he comes back to work, he has a light bulb moment where he's like, this they don't care for me. And so you see him change from somebody who was very stubborn minded and proud individual who was successful in the system, transitioning to being uh, almost an anarchist. I mean, being very anti the company and being very against the system and really fighting them and saying that you don't care for us. So he has this big switch based on his health and how they responded to him, where he sees if anybody should be taken care of, it's me, the highest producing person. And even for me, one of the first questions they back is one of the first questions they ask him when he comes back is, oh, it seems like your production has dropped, so he's like furious at this, right? Because he has one less finger. He's like, hey, I'm doing, why are you asking this? Without getting into spoilers, I mean, essentially the story kind of goes down that path and you get to see somebody who loses confidence in the system and how they deal with that. Now, I want to talk about Cassavetes for a second. So, as I was watching this, there's two things that really jumped out. One, uh, is that for those who haven't seen it, well, I guess there's two ways to say this. For anybody that has seen Cassavetes movies, please watch Working Class Goes to Heaven, because if you like Cassavetes films already and you know that, this is going to be the easiest slam dunk recommendation I've ever made. The other thing I would say is that specifically for people that have seen this, A Woman Under the Influence, if you like the performance of Peter Falk in this movie, gotta see Working Class Goes to Heaven. I mean, I would say this is a harder film to watch because the subject matter is more intimate and personal, dealing with relationships and abuse and addiction. I mean, and it's dealing with tough themes, which makes the movie a little harder to watch. But it's the same energy, frenetic, very fast editing at times. The character, in this case, John Maria Valente, the acting style is just super high energy and frenetic. It's unique. It's difficult for someone to pull this kind of performance off. Isabelle Adjani did it in Possession. For those that like that performance, it's a similar energy that's brought to this. And this is one thing that I think Petri makes this film very interesting. It's not for everybody, but if you're willing to go down this path and just have that constant hit of high energy and almost watch this story play out and without much rest, right? Because this is what a lot of filmmakers will do, is they'll have this intense energy and then quiet. So it's almost like it gives you're able to experience the highs and the lows with the characters in the movie. Cassavetes and Petri, they do this as well, but the quiet periods are not that long, right? So you don't get much of a break. So it can be a tiring film to watch, but when it's in the right hands, it's also a very powerful and moving film. And I think this one is that same category, same caliber to me. It's fantastic. So I love the film. I think the context that the special features paint around what was going on in Italy at the time, why Petri would have wanted to make this film at this time, the political parties that he was involved in, the connections that, within the Italian kind of film industry, and the controversies this created. It all makes for fascinating context. I do want to quickly touch on the Alex Cox interview, and then I'll end. I want Alex Cox to do a special feature on every release. Um, his knowledge and passion for film and for Valenti, the actor, and Petri, the director, they shine. So that's there. But he's also an extremely engaging person. And he interfaces with the camera in a way that is not, he doesn't just sit back in a chair and talk. I mean, he's right there. He's into it. Really, really amazing personality. So glad that Fran was able to secure him for this. Talk about a film and a kind of a movement that he loves. And yeah, so look, I'm not really going to have like a 3 cucumber rating or anything like that, like no gimmicks here. You'll know based on kind of how I've been talking if you like the movie or not. It is an art house picture. It's in Italian. It's pro labor, unabashedly so, and it's very intense. And for a lot of those reasons, I love it, and for a lot of those reasons, some might hate it. So I think it's worth it. I think the supplements that Fran and Radiance have put on the disc make it a slam dunk, easy buy. And I will say that the limited edition is sold out, so I think you have to wait for the standard editions that are coming. But yeah, go get it and watch the movie and let me know what you think if you've seen it. Love to hear from you. Okay, thanks everyone.